As an elementary school principal, I have a lot of visitors. People come to me because they need something from me. They need resources, they need help. They're coming to me because they need something. But I had a visitor that came to me and she had something that I needed, and I didn't even know that it was something that I needed. You see, I stepped out of the office and I went in the hallway and I met with Elsa, and she reached out her hand and was crying. And she said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," just continuously. And so I grabbed her hand and we walked into my office and we sat down at the table in my office. And when I looked down, I noticed that there were papers on my table that she had dropped down, and there were pictures from World War II. There was a POW, there were pictures of swastikas, there was actually a newspaper article from 1952 from the Eden News and Eagle from the town in which I work. Come to find out, she had gone to my school 64 years ago. And she came to talk to me about educators and what they did for her and how they helped her accomplish this thing called the American dream. She told me her story, and I have to tell you that this story changed my life. It certainly changed my mindset, because she talked to me about how her family was in Poland, and when Hitler moved in and took over areas there, her entire family was imprisoned, and then her father was forced to fight for the Germans, and then while fighting for the Germans, he was taken captured by the Russians, and they presumed he was dead. And 5 years later, he came out of that prison and showed up on their front doorstep. And what he said to his family, amongst the hugs and the kisses, was that we're going to America. And it's a powerful story, because as they are entering into New York Harbor, she explains everyone's on top of the boat yelling and screaming, and they see these figures in the background, and they're yelling in German, "Skyscraper, skyscraper," and there's such a dense fog that they can't really see what that is. And mist is covering them. But you could probably go ahead and say that in a splendid glory, the light shined through and broke through the fog, and it was the Statue of Liberty. It was not a skyscraper that they were looking at. And she talked about what that Statue of Liberty stood for her. It is far more than concrete and steel and glass. It is liberty. It's the American dream. She was connected, her entire family was connected with a family that could speak German through a church. And she went there not speaking any English. An ELL student in the 50s, and went to Monroe Elementary School, where I am principal of now, and how educators impacted her life and changed her life, and how she was able to achieve the American dream. And again, I say that when she tells me this story, it definitely had an effect on me. It changed my mindset, because I realized that there's something very patriotic about what we do in education. We are the gateway to the American dream. Whether we realize that or not, we truly are. You see, in all of us, we have a private hope that life is better. We have a private hope that life can get better, that there's something out there for us. And that starts in your classrooms. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what culture you are and you represent. It doesn't matter if you're across the street or across the ocean coming to America for this thing called the American dream. No one is going to surpass their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And those things start in your classrooms and in the hallways. That's where that education begins. And I have to tell you, there's something else that I learned. I learned not only is it patriotic what we do, but there are sacrifices still being made to allow this thing called the American dream. I'm an honorary commander at Vance Air Force Base, and I work specifically with the 33rd Squadron, the Dragons. And I have to tell you that those are some of the finest men and women. They're some of the finest men and women I've ever been around. And it is people like them, it is heroes like them across this nation that are enabling us to go into our classrooms and to welcome our kids to the American dream. And they are the guardians of this thing called the American dream. But I want you to hear this. You are the profession that enables every profession in this nation. You empower and you inspire, and you do that to the very foundation of America. And what you're doing in your classrooms is the passport to the future of this great nation. That is your value. That is who you are. So when naysayers try to define you, don't you dare let them define you. You know who you are and what you're doing. You remember that. And so when we rise up in our classrooms and in our hallways, let us echo the words of Lady Liberty. Let us stand at the doorway of our schools with lamp held high at the golden door. And no matter what color skin, no matter what culture it is, no matter who they are, let them run into our buildings, because we are the gateway to the American dream. Thank you.